Hello students. In lesson number 3, metals and non-metals, today we are going to learn about the occurrence of matter. From where we are getting the metals, these various kinds of matter. Generally, these metals we are getting from nature, and metals are in solid form. So this solid metal we are getting from the earth crust, from the soil. And some other metals are some other metals compounds are soluble in water also. So from the sea as a salt form, these metals compounds are soluble in seawater. So from seawater also we can get the metal. But these metals are not in a pure elemental form, right? So these metals are in a compound form because these metals are reactive. So in nature, they react with the other elements and making the compounds. So metals are in a compound form, maybe in oxide form, carbonate form, sulfide form, etc. So from this compound form, these compounds are obtained naturally from the earth crust, and from this uh, compound we have to extract our particular metal. Okay, the pure metal can be extracted from these compounds. Okay, so this extraction process we are going to do, and compound form that is occurring naturally in the earth crust. This compounds this compound are called the minerals, and sometimes one particular mineral have one particular compound of one metal is so much more in a particular mineral, so that mineral is called ore, right? So like if in one mineral the amount of copper compound is much more, so that is called the ore. So ore is nothing but the mineral having one particular metal compound in a very high concentration. Okay, so from this ore we have to extract our particular matter. Okay, so the process of extraction contains some of the steps. Okay, this process of extracting metals comes in a metallurgy branch of the science. Now it has 5 steps of extraction. Okay, how we are getting the pure 100% metal from the ore. It contains mainly 5 steps. Let us learn one by one. First step is powdering of ore. Okay, so we are getting the mineral or ore. Ore is the enriched amount of we can say that one metal compound is in a much more amount. So with this minerals, this ores we are getting in a rock form from the earth crust. So these rocks can be obtained from the earth crust, and that rock should be converted into powder form. So the first step is the powdering of ore. Right? Now this powdering, after the powdering process, the second step is concentration of ore. Okay, or also it is called the enrichment of ore. With this ore, the earth crust have so much impurities like soil, sand, many more other impurities, mineral of other metal compound also. Okay, iron ore is there. With iron ore there must be some copper minerals, or we can say that magnesium minerals, or any other metal compounds are present in it. So in the second step we have to enrich, we have to concentrate our one particular metal. Okay, if we want the iron from it, we have to enrich our iron ore in our we can say in our sample. Okay, so concentration of ore means we have to increase the amount of one particular metal compound, the metal we want to extract, right? If we want iron, then iron compound should be enriched. Okay, and other impurities, other metal compounds and other impurities should be removed. And impurities present in this ore, like soil and sand and etc., these impurities are known as gangue. Okay, so we have to remove this gangue and other impurities. There are many methods available to remove these impurities, physical method and chemical methods also. Okay. So then next step, okay, so most of the impurities are removed in the second step, concentration of ore. Now we are remaining with our one particular ore with our one particular metal compound. Okay, so this ore contains our metal compound, and now our main focus is to extract a metal from this compound. Okay, so this metal is in a any form, like it can be in oxide form, it can be in sulfide form or carbonate form, etc. Depending on the form, the steps are chosen. Calcination and roasting method, any of the form. See, if the metal is in oxide form, then directly we have to remove this oxygen, okay, metal oxide like magnesium oxide or iron oxide or etc. So we have to remove this oxygen, and removal of oxygen is called reduction, okay. So directly, if the metal is in oxide form, directly the step is reduction process and then purification. But if metal is in carbonate form or sulfide form, mainly these three forms are seen. Okay. If the metal compound is in carbonate form or sulfide form, then we have to convert this carbonate form to oxide form. Listen carefully. The metal compound should be converted to metal carbonate to metal oxide. Okay, so this process of metal carbonate to metal oxide, this process is called calcination process. And if the metal is in sulfide form, then this metal sulfide form should be converted into metal oxide. Okay, so conversion of sulfide form to oxide form is called roasting process. Okay, so by this two methods, the metal compound are converted into oxide form. Why we are converting into oxide form? Because removal of oxygen, that is reduction process, is quite easy. Okay, so we convert all the form to oxide form, and then the reduction process is done. Means after calcination and roasting process, the metal form are converted into oxide form, and then after getting the oxide form, the next step should be reduction, removal of oxygen. So we are getting the metal after reduction of metal. Then this metal is not 100% pure. Okay, so 99.9% pure metal, or we can say that 100% pure metal can be obtained by the last step, that is refining, or we can say that purification of metal. Okay. So by simple 5 steps, the metals are extracted from its ore. Okay. And this process, depending on the reactivity of the metal, okay, so how the methods are varied in depending on the reactivity. This is shown in the chart. So from ore, the next step is concentration of ore, enrichment of the ore, removal of impurities and other metal compounds, that is the concentration of ore. Now, depending on the reactivity, metals of high reactivity like sodium, potassium, magnesium, aluminium, this high reactive metals are generally of the form oxide. Okay, so and if it is in the oxide form, and as the high reactive, they have highly attraction, highly affinity towards the oxygen. So by simply chemical method, the removal of oxygen is not possible. Okay, reduction process is not easy for this high reactive matter. Okay, so chemical methods are not chosen here. Electrolysis of molten ore are chosen to remove the oxygen from the metal oxides. Okay, and then purification of metal, and by the electrolysis process, the 100% pure metal is obtained. So metal with high reactivity, by the electrolysis process, pure metal is obtained. They are generally of oxide form. So no need of any calcination or roasting process. Simply by the electrolysis, the oxygen can be removed. Okay. So by electrolysis process, the pure metal can be obtained. If the metal with medium reactivity, this medium reactivity metal have carbonate and sulfide form. Okay. So if it is have the carbonate form, then by the calcination process they are converted to oxide of mineral, oxide of metal. And if the metal is in sulfide form, then by the roasting process they are converted to oxide of metal. And after getting the oxide of metal, the next step is the reduction of metal, reduction to metal. That means removal of oxygen, and then purification of metal, the last step. And metal with low reactivity, if the metal is low in the reactivity series, then they are generally of the form sulfide. So by the roasting process, simply the metal is obtained and then purification of metal is the next step. So this is the whole chart, or the whole flow chart for the extraction of metal. So it is just giving the pathways, or we can say the ways to get to extract the metal, the pure metal. Okay, so we'll see it one by one. Metal with high reactivity, medium reactivity, and low reactivity. We'll see it in the next lecture. So read up to this, and still if you have any doubts, you can ask me.